How long does it take for an avoidant ex to reach out again? That's the question running circles in your mind, isn't it? But let's dig deeper. Why does it even matter how long it takes? Because let's be honest, this isn't just about a timeline. It's about the hope, the frustration, and the endless replaying of what went wrong. You're watching the clock, hanging on to every moment of silence, hoping that eventually they'll miss you enough to break it. But here's the cold truth. The longer you focus on their next move, the more you lose sight of your own. Think about it. How much space have they taken up in your head since the breakup? Are you living in the present or trapped in a mental waiting room, looking for clues in their silence? Here's the reality no one wants to say out loud. Avoidants don't stay silent because they're soul-searching or suddenly regretting everything they did. No, they stay silent because they're comfortable knowing you're still there, still caring, still holding on to something that they've already let go of, or at least convinced themselves they have. What if their silence isn't confusion, but confidence? Confidence that you're still holding the door open, waiting for them to walk back in whenever they're ready. The Stoics said it best. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good person should be. Be one." This applies here. Stop arguing with yourself about when or if they'll come back. Stop wasting your energy in the limbo of what-ifs. Instead, turn that energy inward, because this silence doesn't have to be a punishment. It can be your power. The moment you stop waiting, stop analyzing, and stop letting their timeline control your emotions, you reclaim something priceless, your peace. But here's the twist. What happens if they do reach out again? Are you ready for that moment? And more importantly, will you be the same person they left behind? That's what today's video is all about. We're diving deep into how avoidant exes think, why they take so long to come back, and how you can make sure their return, if it even happens, doesn't throw you back into their game. Before we go further, I want you to declare something in the comments. Write this down. I refuse to let their silence control my life. Or maybe I reclaim my time and my power. Say it out loud, type it out, and own it. Let this be the moment you stop waiting for someone else to give you closure. And if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and join the Ace Wisdom family. Your support means the world to us, and if you want to help us create even more impactful content, consider becoming a channel member by clicking the link in the description. Together, we can make this community stronger and more empowering. Stay with me, because what comes next will open your eyes in ways you didn't see coming. Ace Wisdom presents How Long It Takes for an Avoidant Ex to Reach Out Again. Number 1. Avoidant exes need space, but it's not about you. Let's break this down, because this is one of the hardest truths to accept. When an avoidant ex pulls away, their silence feels personal, like a rejection of you. But here's the thing. It's not. Avoidants withdraw, because that's how they've learned to survive emotionally. They're not necessarily punishing you or plotting their next move. They're protecting themselves from the discomfort of intimacy, emotional vulnerability, or even just conflict. It's a coping mechanism they've likely used their entire life, long before you entered the picture. Avoidants crave space because it allows them to regulate their emotions in their own way. When things get too intense, whether it's during the relationship or after the breakup, they need distance to feel in control again. That doesn't mean they don't care. It means they don't know how to balance closeness with their own sense of independence. For them, space feels safe, predictable. Now here's where it gets tricky. Their silence often leaves you guessing. You're left wondering, what did I do wrong? Did I push them away? Will they ever come back? But let me tell you this. It's not about you. It's about them. Their withdrawal isn't a reflection of your worth or your actions. It's a pattern rooted in their own fears and insecurities. You could have done everything right, and they still would have pulled back. That's the nature of an avoidant attachment style. And while they're enjoying the quiet and the relief that space brings them, you're likely on the other end, analyzing their every move, hoping their silence means they're missing you. But here's the truth. Their silence doesn't mean what you think it does. It's not about regret or reconsideration. Most of the time, avoidants retreat because they need that distance to feel comfortable again, not because they're sitting there planning a heartfelt comeback. This is where the Stoics offer wisdom that can save you from unnecessary pain. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. You can't control why they're silent, how long they'll stay that way, or whether they'll come back. But you can control how much of your energy you give to the silence. You can choose to stop seeing it as a punishment and start viewing it as an opportunity to focus on yourself. The sooner you realize that their withdrawal isn't about you, the sooner you can stop blaming yourself or feeling like you need to fix something. You don't need to prove your worth to someone who's too caught up in their own fears to see it. Instead of obsessing over their next move, redirect that energy to yourself. Reclaim your time, your peace, and your sense of self-worth. Here's the takeaway. An avoidant ex needs space not because of you, but because of them. Their silence is their way of coping, not a reflection of your value. Once you understand this, their silence starts to lose its grip over you. It's no longer a question of what they're thinking, but a chance for you to focus on your own growth. Stay tuned for the next key point, where we'll unpack what avoidants are thinking during the silence and what makes them decide, if ever, to reach out again. Key point 2. Avoidant exes. Reach out. When it's safe for them, not when you're ready. If you've ever wondered, why do avoidant exes take so long to reach out? The answer lies in how they process emotions. Avoidants don't follow the same timeline as you do. They won't reach out when you're at the peak of your pain, or when you're sitting there longing for closure. They'll reach out when it feels safe for them, emotionally, mentally, and sometimes even logistically. Avoidants are deeply uncomfortable with emotional vulnerability, so when a breakup happens, their instinct is to retreat and avoid any situation that feels too raw or confronting. That's why they're often so silent in the aftermath. While you're longing for a heartfelt explanation or even just an acknowledgement of the pain, they're likely in self-protection mode, thinking, how do I avoid making this worse for me? Here's the irony. Avoidants often reach out not because they've had a sudden epiphany about their feelings, but because they sense that enough time has passed for the emotional intensity to die down. They wait for the storm to clear, for you to stop reacting emotionally, and for things to feel safe again. This doesn't mean they've forgotten about you or that they don't care, but it does mean their first priority is protecting themselves from discomfort, not prioritizing your need for closure or connection. Think about it like this. They don't reach out because they miss you so much they can't stand it. They reach out because they believe it's finally a good time to do so, when the emotional waters are calm and they don't feel at risk of being overwhelmed. It's about control. They want to approach the situation on their terms, not yours. And here's the kicker. By the time they do reach out, you've likely gone through a roller coaster of emotions. Maybe you've been angry, heartbroken, hopeful, and everything in between. So when that text or call finally comes, it can feel like validation. Like, finally, they're thinking about me again. But here's the question you need to ask yourself. Are they reaching out because they genuinely want to reconnect, or because they want to keep the door open just enough to maintain a sense of control? This is where the wisdom of the Stoics can guide you. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." When they reach out, it's not an automatic sign that they've changed or that the relationship is suddenly back on track. Their timing is about them, not you. Your reaction, however, is entirely up to you. If and when an avoidant ex reaches out, you need to be prepared. Prepared to see the situation clearly, without the rose-tinted glasses of hope or the bitterness of past hurt clouding your judgment. Ask yourself, what do I really want from this conversation? And more importantly, what boundaries do I need to set to protect myself? Their reaching out might feel like progress, but it doesn't erase the silence or the hurt that came before it. It's up to you to decide what happens next. Will you let them set the terms, or will you take the opportunity to stand firm in your truth? In the next key point, we'll dive into the patterns of avoidant behavior and how to recognize whether their reaching out is a genuine attempt to reconnect or just another chapter in their cycle of avoidance. Stay tuned. Key point 3. Recognizing avoidant patterns and establishing boundaries. When an avoidant ex finally reaches out, it's crucial to recognize the patterns of their behavior. Avoidants often fall into a cycle of pushing away and pulling back, and it's vital to understand this before you react to their outreach. This is not just a momentary lapse where they've realized their mistakes. It's often part of a broader pattern of behavior that they've engaged in for a long time. These patterns usually involve intense emotional periods followed by withdrawal. They might reach out with sweet messages or nostalgic memories, pulling you in with fond recollections of your time together. But just as quickly as they engage, they can retreat again when things become too real or too intense. This back and forth can leave you feeling like you're on an emotional roller coaster, never quite knowing where you stand. Understanding this cycle is essential because it helps you to set boundaries. Remember, you have the right to protect your emotional well-being. Just because they've decided to reach out doesn't mean you need to drop everything and engage as if nothing has happened. You can choose to respond thoughtfully, taking into account your own feelings and needs, rather than just reacting to their advances. Consider this. When they reach out, ask yourself what their intentions are. Do they seem genuinely interested in having a meaningful conversation, or are they just checking in to see if they still have a hold on you? Pay attention to the language they use. Are they taking responsibility for their actions, or are they downplaying the hurt caused by their past behavior? If they're not acknowledging the impact of their absence, it's a red flag. You can take inspiration from Stoic philosophy here. Seneca once said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." This means that while you may fear the worst, that they've moved on, that they've forgotten you, or that they'll hurt you again, you can choose how to engage with that fear. Instead of letting the anxiety of the past dictate your actions, take a step back and respond from a place of clarity. When it comes to establishing boundaries, clarity is key. You might decide to respond positively, but with a clear message about what you need moving forward. Perhaps you want to establish that you're not interested in re-entering a relationship unless they're ready to genuinely confront their avoidant tendencies. Or maybe you're not ready for any form of relationship and need space to focus on yourself. Whatever it is, voice it. Don't shy away from stating your truth. Remember, it's entirely acceptable to let them know that their past behavior hurt you and that you're not willing to jump back into their orbit without some understanding and respect for your feelings. Setting these boundaries doesn't mean you're punishing them. It means you're prioritizing your emotional health. Ultimately, when an avoidant ex reaches out, see it as an opportunity not just to reconnect, but to reassess your own needs and what you want moving forward. This is your chance to take control of your narrative rather than letting their patterns dictate how you feel or respond. In the next key point, we'll explore how to effectively communicate your boundaries and expectations if you decide to engage, ensuring that your voice is heard and respected in the process. Stay with me. This is where things really start to shift. Key point 4. Communicating boundaries and expectations effectively. When you find yourself in a situation where an avoidant ex has reached out, it's crucial to communicate your boundaries and expectations clearly. This is your moment to set the tone for any potential interaction, ensuring that it's respectful of your emotional needs while also being mindful of their tendencies. This conversation can shape the future of your relationship, whether that's as friends, as partners, or simply as individuals who have shared a past. First and foremost, approach the conversation with clarity and honesty. Before you respond, take a moment to reflect on what you truly want. Ask yourself, what are my non-negotiables? This could be anything from the need for open communication to a request for accountability regarding past behaviors. Remember that you're not just reacting to their outreach. You're actively participating in a dialogue that can lead to healing or closure. Use I statements to express your feelings without sounding accusatory. For instance, instead of saying, "You never cared about me," try framing it as, "I felt hurt and abandoned when you withdrew." This subtle shift in language can make a significant difference in how the conversation unfolds. It allows them to hear your truth without feeling attacked, which is essential when dealing with someone who may be defensive due to their avoidant nature. You might also want to consider setting specific boundaries regarding how often you're willing to communicate and what topics are off limits for now. For example, you could say, "I'm open to talking, but I need some time to process everything before we dive into our past." This way, you're asserting your need for space while still being open to a dialogue, which is crucial for anyone navigating relationships with avoidant individuals. Additionally, be prepared for their response. They may react defensively or try to minimize your feelings, classic avoidant behavior. They might say things like, "You're overreacting," or "I didn't mean to hurt you." Recognize that these responses stem from their fear of vulnerability. This is not an invitation for you to back down. Rather, it's an opportunity for you to stand firm in your truth. You can say, "I understand that you might not see it this way, but my feelings are valid, and I need you to respect that." The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This is the perfect mantra to keep in mind during this conversation. You can't control how they respond, but you can control your reaction. Stay calm and assertive, focusing on your needs rather than getting caught up in their emotional turmoil. Finally, it's important to establish a follow-up plan. If they genuinely want to reconnect, suggest checking in after a set period. This allows you both to take a step back and reflect on the conversation without the pressure of immediate resolution. For example, you might say, "Let's touch base in a few weeks to see how we both feel." This keeps the lines of communication open while protecting your emotional space. Remember, communicating your boundaries isn't just about keeping the peace. It's about asserting your worth. You deserve to have your feelings validated and your needs respected. By establishing clear boundaries and expectations, you empower yourself and encourage healthier interactions in the future. In the next key point, we'll discuss the importance of self-care during this process, helping you maintain your emotional balance as you navigate the complexities of reconnecting with an avoidant ex. Stay with me. We're getting to the heart of true healing. Key point 5. Prioritizing self-care and emotional well-being. As you navigate the complexities of reconnecting with an avoidant ex, prioritizing self-care is absolutely essential. While it's easy to get caught up in the emotions and the dynamics of the relationship, remember that your well-being should always come first. Taking care of yourself isn't just a luxury, it's a necessity, especially when you're dealing with the unpredictability of avoidant behavior. Self-care starts with recognizing your feelings and allowing yourself to process them. It's normal to feel a mixture of hope, anxiety, sadness, and even anger when an ex reaches out, particularly one who has a history of avoidance. Instead of pushing these feelings aside, acknowledge them. Journal your thoughts, talk to a trusted friend, or even seek the support of a therapist. By giving yourself permission to feel and process these emotions, you create a healthier emotional landscape from which to operate. Next, establish a routine that promotes your mental and emotional health. This might include activities that help you relax and recharge, such as exercise, meditation, or pursuing hobbies that bring you joy. Engaging in self-care activities helps to alleviate stress and provides a positive outlet for your emotions, allowing you to approach the situation with a clearer mindset. Remember, your focus should be on rebuilding your sense of self, independent of your past relationship. Setting aside time for self-reflection is also important. Consider what you've learned from the relationship and how it has shaped you. What boundaries have you established? What qualities are non-negotiable for you in future relationships? Reflecting on these questions will not only help you gain insight into your own needs, but also reinforce your sense of self-worth. This self-awareness is a powerful tool when navigating conversations with your avoidant ex. It allows you to stand firm in your beliefs and choices. The Stoic philosopher Seneca emphasized the importance of taking care of oneself, stating, "A good character, which is the result of self-discipline, is the most valuable possession of all." By investing in your self-care and emotional well-being, you're cultivating a strong foundation that will serve you well in any relationship, including this one. Your self-discipline and commitment to prioritizing your well-being create a resilient character that can withstand emotional turbulence. Additionally, as you engage with your ex, ensure that you maintain some emotional distance. This doesn't mean you shouldn't be open and honest in your communication. It simply means you should guard your heart. Keep in mind that although their reaching out may feel like progress, it's crucial to remain grounded and not invest all your emotional energy into the possibility of reconciliation. Take things slow and stay mindful of your emotions, ensuring you're not getting swept away in the tides of nostalgia or hope. Finally, if things don't unfold as you'd hoped, be kind to yourself. Rejection or emotional setbacks are part of life, and they don't define your worth. Allow yourself the grace to feel disappointed, but also the strength to pick yourself back up. Remember that every experience, even the painful ones, contributes to your growth and resilience. In the end, prioritizing your self-care and emotional well-being is a powerful statement to both yourself and your avoidant ex. You are worthy of love, respect, and happiness on your own terms. By taking care of yourself, you not only empower yourself, but also set a standard for how you expect to be treated in any future relationships. Now that we've covered the importance of self-care, let's wrap up this discussion by summarizing the key insights we've explored and discussing how to move forward from this experience, regardless of the outcome, with your avoidant ex. Stay with me as we bring everything together for a strong finish. Moving forward with empowerment and insight. As we wrap up our discussion on how long it takes for an avoidant ex to reach out again, it's essential to remember the key takeaways we've explored together. Firstly, their silence and withdrawal are not reflections of your worth, but rather a manifestation of their emotional coping mechanisms. Recognizing this truth allows you to reclaim your power and focus on your own healing journey. Secondly, when an avoidant ex does reach out, it's crucial to understand the patterns behind their behavior. They tend to engage only when they feel emotionally safe, and your emotional well-being should remain at the forefront of any interaction. By establishing clear boundaries and communicating your expectations, you can create a healthier dialogue that respects both your feelings and theirs. Most importantly, prioritizing self-care is not just a suggestion, it's a necessity. Investing in your emotional well-being allows you to approach the situation with clarity and strength, ensuring that you don't lose sight of your own needs in the process. Remember, you are worthy of love and respect, and your journey is about building a life that aligns with your truth. As we move forward, I encourage you to reflect on your experiences and carry the insights gained from this discussion into your future interactions, whether that's with your avoidant ex or anyone else. Embrace your newfound understanding and let it guide you toward healthier relationships and greater self-awareness. Now for our next video, we'll delve into a topic that many of you have been curious about. The signs. Your avoidant ex is thinking about coming back. Understanding these signs can provide valuable insights into their mindset and help you navigate your feelings moving forward. So make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you won't miss it. Join the Ace Wisdom family by becoming a channel member. Your support helps us create high-quality content that empowers and inspires. Don't forget to comment below with your thoughts on today's video and share your own mantras related to self-worth and healing. Together, let's continue this journey of growth and understanding. Thank you for joining me today. Stay focused, stay empowered, and I'll see you in the next video.